Hi. Today I'm going to read you kind of a funny story that I didn't even know about until about a week ago. And one of my friends said that her grandchildren love this story. So I thought I would find it in the library and read it for you guys. Now the title is kind of funny, and I think the rest of the story is pretty funny too. It's called The Three Little Wolves and the Big Bad Pig. It's kind of weird. Once upon a time, there were three cuddly little wolves with soft fur and fluffy tails who lived with their mother. The first was black, the second was gray, and the third was white. Now one day the mother called the three little wolves around her and said, "My children, it's time for you to go out into the world. Go and build yourself a house, but beware of the big, bad pig."
"Don't worry, Mother. We'll watch out for him," said the three little wolves, and off they set.
Soon they met a kangaroo who was pushing a wheelbarrow full of red and yellow bricks.
"Please, will you give us some of your bricks?"
asked the three little wolves. "Well, certainly," said the kangaroo, and she gave them lots of red and yellow bricks. And so the three little wolves built themselves a house out of bricks. The very next day, the big bad wolf came prowling down the road and saw the house of bricks that the little wolves had built. Now the three little wolves were playing croquet out in the garden, and when they saw the big bad pig coming, they ran inside the house and they locked the door. The pig knocked on the door and grunted.
"Yeah, little wolves, let me come in, see?" "No, no, no," said the three little wolves. "By the hair on our chinny chin chins, we will not let you in, not for all the tea leaves in our china teapot."
"Well, then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down," said the pig. And so he huffed and he puffed, and he puffed and he huffed, but the house didn't fall down. But the pig wasn't called big and bad for nothing. He went and he fetched his sledgehammer and he knocked the house down. The three little wolves only just managed to escape before the bricks crumbled, and they were very frightened indeed.
"We'll have to build a stronger house," they said.
Just then they saw a beaver who was mixing concrete in a concrete mixer.
"Please, will you give us some of your concrete?"
asked the three little wolves. "Oh, well, certainly," said the beaver, and he gave them buckets and buckets of messy, slurry concrete. And so the three little wolves built themselves a house of concrete. No sooner had they finished than the big bad pig came prowling down the road and saw the house of concrete that the wolves had built. Now they were playing badminton in the garden, and when they saw the big bad pig coming, they ran inside the house and they shut the door. The pig rang the bell, bing bong, and said, "Yeah, little frightened wolves, let me come in."
"No, no, no," said the three little wolves. "By the hair on our chinny chin chins, we will not let you in, not for all the tea leaves in our china teapot."
"Well, then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down," said the pig. And so he huffed and puffed, and he puffed and huffed, but the house didn't fall down. But the pig wasn't called big and bad for nothing. He went and fetched his pneumatic drill and smashed the house down. The three little wolves managed to escape, but their chinny chin chins were trembling and trembling and trembling. "Oh, we shall build an even stronger house," they said, because they were very determined. Just then they saw a truck coming down the road carrying barbed wire and iron bars and armor plates and heavy metal padlocks.
"Please, will you give us some of your barbed wire and a few iron bars and armor plates and some heavy metal padlocks?"
they said to the rhinoceros who was driving the truck. "Well, sure," said the rhinoceros, and he gave them plenty of barbed wire and iron bars and armor plates and heavy metal padlocks. He also gave them some plexiglass and some reinforced steel chains because he was a generous and kind-hearted rhinoceros. So the three little wolves built themselves an extremely strong house. It was the strongest, securest house one could possibly imagine. They felt absolutely safe. The next day the big bad pig came prowling along the road as usual. The three little wolves were playing hopscotch in the garden. When they saw the big bad pig coming, they ran inside the house, they bolted the door, and they locked all 37 padlocks. The pig dialed the video entrance phone and said, "Doot, doot, doot, doot. Little frightened wolves with trembling chins, let me come in." "No, no, no," said the little wolves. "Not by the hair in our chins. We will not let you in, not for all the tea leaves in our china teapot." "Well, then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down." And so he huffed and he puffed, and he puffed and he huffed. But the house didn't fall down. But the pig wasn't called big and bad for nothing. He brought some dynamite, and he laid it against the house, and he lit the fuse. And yeah, the house blew up. And the three little wolves just managed to escape with their fluffy tails scorched. "Something must be wrong with our building materials. We have to try something different, but what?" At that moment they saw a flamingo coming along, pushing a wheelbarrow full of flowers. "Please, will you give us some flowers?" said the little wolves. "Oh, with pleasure," said the flamingo, and he gave them lots of flowers. And so the three little wolves built themselves a house out of flowers. One wall was of marigolds, one was of daffodils, one of pink roses, and one of cherry blossoms. The ceiling was all made of sunflowers, and the floor was a carpet of daisies. They had water lilies in the bathtub, and they had buttercups in the refrigerator. It was a rather fragile house, and it kind of swayed in the wind, but it was very beautiful. The next day the big bad pig came prowling down the road, and he saw the house of flowers the three little wolves had built. He rang the blue bell at the doorbell and said, "You little frightened wolves with the trembling chins and the scorched tails, let me come in." "No, no, no," said the three little wolves. "By the hair in our chins, we will not let you in, not for all the tea leaves in our china teapot." "Well, then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down," said the pig. But as he took a deep breath, ready to huff and puff, he smelled the soft scent of flowers. It was fantastic. Because the scent was so lovely, the pig took another breath. And then another breath. And instead of huffing and puffing, he began to sniff. He sniffed deeper and deeper until he was filled with the fragrant scent. His heart grew tender, and he realized how horrible he had been. Right then, he decided that he would become a good pig. And he started to sing and dance the tarantella. At first the three little wolves were a little worried. It might be a trick. But soon they realized that the pig had truly changed. So they came running out of the house, and they started playing games with him. First they played Pig Pog, and then Piggy in the Middle. And when they were all tired, they invited him into the house. And they offered him tea and strawberries and wolf berries, and they asked him to stay with them as long as he wanted. The pig accepted, and they all lived happily together ever after. Very strange story.